Good morning and welcome back, everyone. Well, today we're talking all about reading, and it's a great way to relax. I love to read, curl up in the bathtub and all that kind of stuff with a good book, but it's also so important. Reading is with academic success. You need to start those kids reading really, really young. It's so important that your kids are reading and they're reading well. And today, the learning and reading experts from Learning RX are here to tell us how to foster good reading habits in our children and why it's so important to start early. So, good morning, ladies. We've got Jody and Dina here. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Let's talk first about that. Why you should start young and get kids to fall in love with reading young.
Absolutely, Amy. You need to hook your child on that, enjoyment. And so the more that you can model for your child and read to them out loud, they love to listen to your voice and listen to those stories and that modeling of good, instruction. So taking them on trips to bookstores, Barnes & Noble, who doesn't love to go in there, have a latte or whatever, and just immerse yourself with all those beautiful books? The more that you can model, whether it's every night reading a newspaper, but finding the topic that your child loves will really get them to love reading as well.
As tired as you are, crawl in bed with them, yes. Read a chapter, read a few pages. They love it. It's great bonding time. Make the time. It's so important. Exactly. Okay, so sometimes you can do everything that you can as a parent to get your kids to read, but they're just not they're not hooking on. What should parents be looking for to see if their kids aren't really getting it and are not falling in love with reading?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Sometimes you can do everything right and still it doesn't seem like it's coming for a student. So I think when reading is a challenge, it's more work than you want it to be, and kids don't like to read if it's more work, and adults don't like to do anything if it's more work for them. We like to do the things that are easy for us. And so one of the first things that we look for, one of the first red flags that we ask parents about is, does your child enjoy reading? Because if it's more work, they don't want to do it. So if they don't enjoy reading, if they'd rather read to themselves than read out loud, because then they don't have to sound, they don't have to, and you don't know what they're doing when they're reading to themselves. If when they're reading out loud they sound slow and choppy, or a big red flag is if they're guessing at words. So usually when they're guessing too, they'll say the first sound, but they'll guess at what the rest of the word is. So they might say garbage for garage or something like that.
Got it.
And just not wanting to read out loud in class, things like that. And reading kind of bleeds over into everything, and so you'll see that math word problems are a problem, or taking tests because they're not reading the test questions correctly, things like that when they know the material.
I think that's such a good point. That's one of those things where if you let it go, and all of a sudden you're in high school and you didn't catch it early, big problems. Little problems can turn into big problems. That's where you guys can come in. What can you do to help kids who are struggling with reading? How can you make them successful?
Exactly. Well, the first thing we want parents to know is it's not going to go away on their own. If your child struggles, we have great instructors in our classrooms, but many times, and what we know is 88% of all learning struggles is due to weak cognitive skills. So that very first step is just to bring them in. Very inexpensively, we can give them a test to pinpoint if there are weak spots in their brain that's not allowing them to read and think as efficiently as they should be able to. In fact, in the month of March, we're going to give those assessments at 50% off. So for a very inexpensive value, you can find out exactly what's going on with your child. We can pinpoint it and then come up with a plan to help them. But again, the biggest thing is don't put it off. It will not go away on its own. Parents can get online on our website at learningrx.com, and they can take a self-assessment to kind of see where those skills are. So we encourage them to do that and then give us a call and get that assessment done.
All right, great points, ladies. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Learning RX, absolutely. Go online, check it out, and catch it early.
Absolutely.
So important. We want them to be future book clubbers, right? All right.